Women come last. They do not come first. Now, I know you already have preconceived notions and assumptions about what it is that I mean. I'm not saying women are terrible. I'm not saying they're not worth your time or you shouldn't get married or anything like that. I'm pro-marriage. I'm pro-women. But as a man who's watching this, you have to understand your priorities, man. Especially if you claim to be a man that is following God. Too many men are putting women before their mission and their calling in life. And I used to do the exact same thing, which is why I can talk about this. One of the fundamental concepts and coaching methodologies that I give all of my clients is as follows: identity, lifestyle, and relationships. There's a reason I put them in that order. Pretty much all of the work that I do with my clients is in identity. Making sure that your identity as a man is solid. You know who you are, you know what you want, you know where you're going, and you know why it matters. Then the second domain is your lifestyle, because your lifestyle is only a manifestation of the identity that you accept about yourself. Your habits, your job, career, lifestyle, where you live, everything like that is just a reflection of what you believe about yourself. And then finally, all the way at the end, are relationships. Relationships are just a complement to your lifestyle, therefore coming from the identity that you hold about yourself. That is the hierarchy. Women are not at the beginning. Too many men are focused on having the relationship, the marriage, the girl, right? Instead of actually getting right with God, understanding what your calling is, who you are called to be, the assignment, the mission over your life. Now, am I saying you have to have every single thing figured out? You have to be a millionaire to be fully at the end of your development? No, because truthfully, I don't believe that there is an end. But you have to have the foundation of an identity and a lifestyle that you're building pre-woman, before a woman is ever in the equation, because you have to think about this very logistically. If you don't have a mission and you don't have a calling, then what could a woman do to your life? What value does she add? Before you're on your purpose, what point do you have to be in a relationship? A woman is your helpmate. She's your support. If you have nothing for her to support, what is the point of being with her other than the fact that you're lonely and you want companionship? Let me tell you two stories about women that I've encountered that I can speak from experience about this. The first one was before I found my mission, before I found my calling. I was with a girl in college, really. And she was like one of the first people that I've met, first woman that I've ever met that I really, really related to. I thought we were quote unquote like soulmates, you know, I thought this whole thing, I was very immature, very naive at the time. But I thought, wow, this girl really gets me. I can actually see myself being with her for once. Because most of the girls that I've ever met, they liked me and I didn't like them, or I liked them, they didn't like me. That usually was my experience up until this point. And she was actually one of the first girls that I've met that actually we had mutual interest. I was really into her, she was really into me, and I thought it was this crazy, like, divine thing, like, oh, God sent me her, etc. And the ironic thing was, I made her my entire life. Literally, I think I've talked about this before on the channel, but I would literally go, so I was in college at the time, I wouldn't worry about eating food or being social with my friends. I was failing a class because I was so distracted, so wrapped up into her that my emotions were completely dependent on her communication. If she texted me, I would be like a normal human being. And if she didn't, I was miserable. I was like borderline depressed, honestly. And it was extremely unhealthy. And I remember just going through so many emotions with this girl, so many ups and downs with this girl, but keep in mind that I had nothing else that I was focused on. Yeah, I was in school, so I was trying to graduate. But I knew with my degree, I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. Like, that's not what I wanted to set my career trajectory towards. So I was at a bit of a crossroads. I was figuring out who I really was and what I was really meant to do. And I didn't have that clarity. But I made her the centerpiece of not only my happiness, but my worthiness and my purpose. I made her my purpose. And it just never, ever, ever ends well. I'll tell you that from experience. It never ends well when you make women your purpose. You're not supposed to. Like, again, I'm always going to appreciate a woman's beauty. I value women. I know that they're great. Inherently, they're made in the images of God, but they are not your God. When you put all your focus on them, they become your God. They become your focus. And at the time, this girl was my universe. That's all I focused on. I wasn't really prioritizing my health, my sleep, my career. You base your worthiness and your sense of fulfillment off of a woman who can be extremely emotional sometimes and very fleeting. Some days they're really, really receptive. Some days they're not. And if you base your level of fulfillment on a woman's up and down emotions, what do you think is going to happen to you? You're going to be living in chaos, bro. You're going to be living in chaos. And a lot of this is deeper work. It stems from not having a solid masculine foundation, not having a solid masculine figure to look up to show us right from wrong, to tell us that, hey man, you got to put your purpose first. Women are secondary. They are not the focus. They are the byproducts of the focus that you have. Think about it from biblical terms. Like, all my Christian bros out there, think back to Adam and Eve. Adam was not focused on anybody else. Like, he was the only one there. It was just him. It was him and God. And what did he have to do? His assignment was to tend to the garden. That's what God instructed him to do. And after a while, he does what he's supposed to do. He's obedient. And then what happened? God created Eve from Adam to be his support, to be his helpmate. Eve was not first. We have to really remember this stuff. We have to understand and conceptualize that relationships and women and all of this stuff is as great as it is. I'm not condemning this whatsoever. I'm not a red pill bro or any of those like cringy guys that say never get married and they disrespect women. I'm not one of those guys. But I'm going to shoot you straight because I've had this experience. I've put women on a pedestal before and it doesn't end well. I would hope that you're on your path and you're on your mission. If not, you're going to be by the end of this video. The problem is that most guys want to be in relationships, but the truth is, if you're really honest with yourself, you're probably not ready to handle one. Imagine like if a woman came into your life right now, would you be ready? Now, I know you're never fully ready, right? Like, I get that. But fundamentally, would she add any value to your life? If you don't already know your value, then how can someone add to your value? Do you see what I'm saying? If you don't have an assignment, then you can't assign roles for other people in your life to fulfill those roles. Like, imagine if you started a business. You're the CEO. And you're hiring out employees. Well, if you as the business owner don't know what your business even is or how it supports people, or you haven't built enough skill sets and tools on your own so it can run without employees, if you start hiring people, do you know what role they're going to play? Do you know where they fit into the ecosystem of a business? That would be irresponsible as a business owner, to hire people before you're actually ready to hire on help. And I just think that's a perfect analogy for relationships. As a man, you're the leader. If you don't know how a woman fits into your life, you're simply not ready yet. And that's okay. And be happy being single. Build up your life. Create the things that you're meant to do here on this earth. There is no better blessing than that. I really don't believe that you'll be happy in a relationship until you can finally be happy and fulfilled while being single. knowing that you don't need a woman to validate you. You don't need a woman's cushy feelings and nurturing ability to feel good about yourself as a man. If your worthiness comes from anything outside of you, then you'll always be searching. That's why it has to come from God. It has to come from that divine connection between you and spirit. You're already worthy, bro. A woman does not equal your worthiness. Whether you're talking to 4 girls, 5 girls, whatever, or 1, none of that matters. I'm never going to be against relationships or thinking women are the problem and all this different stuff you hear in the manosphere. That's not what I'm saying, and I hope you don't hear what I'm not saying in this video. I believe in marriage. I believe in relationships being strong. It can really strengthen a man. But before you can do that, you have to have a foundation first. You can't build on a weak foundation because then it's going to crumble. You are the leader, after all. You are the person that leads the relationship. If you're not solid, it's going to fall. You know, I think back to even my second experience with a long-term partner, my first girlfriend, a couple years ago. I got into that relationship really before I was fully committed to my purpose. Now, I already had my business, and I had all these things. I thought I was going forward, but to tell you the truth, if I'm being honest, I was pretty lukewarm. Not just in my faith, especially in my faith, but also in my business. I wasn't really treating it as seriously as I'm treating it now. And I got into it prematurely because I was lonely and I wanted physical intimacy. I told you that. Look at my last video where I talk about my celibacy journey. You can watch that on my channel. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. That's why most guys get into relationships, because they want company. They want to touch and cuddle up with some girl and just feel good. Until you have a calling, until you're focused on building a life that you can be proud of, you are not ready. It's just a simple truth. To reiterate, I'm not saying you need to have $1 million, you need to have everything figured out. No, you're never gonna be perfect, bro. You're always a work in progress. We all are. But you have to have the fundamentals down. That's like playing a video game and you immediately want to go to level 5, but you're still on level 1. Dude, you got to beat the boss at level 1, get to level 2, beat that boss, master that level, then go to level 3 and 4, and then you get to 5. Don't skip the steps, bro. Don't skip level 1 to level 5 when you're truly, being honest, you're at level 1. Most of you guys are. Most of you guys right now are not locked into your purpose like you think you are. You might know that you want to improve yourself, but are you really doing the work to get there? Are you really seeking God every day? Are you really understanding your identity about what it is you're called to do? Or are you letting your past define you? You letting women define you? You letting financial circumstances define you? Because the more that you put women at the centerpiece, the more you're going to be let down. Women should not be your number one priority. Even when you're in a relationship, even when you're in a marriage, you still have to put your calling first. You have to. As a man, nothing will fulfill you more. You can have all the love and the support from your family, from your girl, from friends that you want. It's still not going to be enough. Unless you know you are on a path, you are building something, you are going somewhere as a man, you are doing something worthwhile to contribute to the world, to society. If you don't have that, then nothing's going to fulfill you. Only God can really give you that. That's something that you have to figure out. I can't sit here and tell you what your calling is. I can't tell you what you're meant to do. I can't tell you who you are. I can support you and give you the tools and coach you through it and mentor you through it. That's what I do with my clients. But I don't give them the answers. They have the answers. You have the answer. I just help remove everything along the way that prevents you from seeing the answer. That's all I do. I'm not giving you anything that you don't already have. Maybe a couple tools and a couple exercises, but inherently, you have it. It's just getting out of your own way so you can see it. And as a result, once you're on your path and on your purpose and you're doing things, a woman will come into your life because she sees that you're a man who's on a mission. That's what women are attracted to. I don't care what anybody says. That's been my experience. When they can really sense that you're a guy who's in his purpose, he's in his masculine because he's doing things that lead him to growth, fulfillment, understanding, you're contributing, you're serving others at a high level, women can't help but be attracted to that. If she's truly feminine, she's going to be attracted to that, man. You can't negotiate desire. You can only attract those kind of women. You can only attract. You don't go out and chase. You bring them into your world because of the things that you're building, your lifestyle. Remember the fundamentals: identity, lifestyle, and then relationships. I'm in the process of moving out. I'm still building my business. I'm still doing the work that I have to do. It wouldn't make sense for a girl to be in my life right now. Eventually, sure, maybe at the end of the year, potentially. You know, there's so little said about men's obsession. Men need to be obsessed. Obsessed with their work. Obsessed with their purpose, with their mission, with their assignment. You're not obsessed enough. They're obsessed with trivial things, superficial things that don't even matter, like their favorite sports team, going out and getting drunk on the weekends. Or even worse, they're obsessed with women. All day long they talk about this girl, how bad she is, or how I want to get with her so bad. And get obsessed with the right things. The things that are actually going to make you fulfilled as a man. Everything else will follow that. Truly. That's pretty much it. I got some inspiration to make this topic because I was watching my boy, one of my friends, David Hammond. He's another YouTube creator. It's given me inspiration to talk about this because it's so true. I even had my clients talk about this recently, that they, were telling me, like, you know what, I feel like I'm a little bit too woman focused right now. I'm just like, you know what, maybe you are. You're not as focused on your calling and your purpose, and you're not where you want to be in life. Like, that's got to come first. The women will come later. I'm not saying they never will come. Maybe they don't. I mean, if you're not called to be a husband and a father, I'm sure that you are if you watch my channel, because I'm all about that stuff. I hope that you do one day. But you got to be willing to just take the narrow path. Go the road least traveled. But that's what's going to lead you and mold you into the kind of man that God designed you to be. And give this video a like if you enjoyed it, if it gave you any insight, if it gave you some inspiration to just put your priorities back in check and focus. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. If you haven't subscribed already, I talk about all these things and more involving man's identity, masculine identity, healing father wounds, and really getting into your purpose and in your calling. So you can eventually attract a wife, but it's got to come from the right place. And if you want to work with me personally, it's my coaching services that I offer. Everything you just heard about is what I talk about with my clients, and getting you as a man to be in your purpose, to be in your calling, and healing any wounds that are in the way and preventing you from realizing your greatest potential. Any limiting beliefs that might be there, we just remove those so you can fully act and live with conviction every day. So if that's what you want to do, I'm going to leave the link down below. You know where to find it. If you want to ask me a question on Instagram, I'm active on there every single day. I'll leave that link down below as well. I just felt called to make this video because it's a reminder. It's a reminder even for myself to make sure my priorities are in check. Like, I'm not out searching for women constantly. I'm not on the dating apps. I'm not wasting my time. I'm focused on the stuff that matters, knowing that that'll come when I'm really, really aligned. And it will for you too. That's it for me, man. I hope you enjoyed the video and gained some value from it. I hope to see you on the next one. Peace out.